Let us enter quietly, simply, into an atmosphere of meditation. We can live a long, long time in such an atmosphere and still keep our feet on the ground. Why should we keep our feet on the ground? Because the Word must become flesh. It is of no use to discover peace in a chair and lose it at the kitchen table. It is of no use to speak of God in a sanctuary and fail to recognize God in the eyes of the one across from us in the checkout line. And so we begin not with many words, but with a shared recognition. In this room, in this very moment, no one is being judged. Not you, not the one who will come to mind as we speak, not the one who seems to have failed you, nor the one who has applauded you. Be still and know that I am God, not that I am judge, not that I am critic, not that I am flatterer. Be still and know. You may feel your shoulders drop at that sentence. You may feel the mind casting about for the next evaluation and finding none to grip. We are laying down the ancient tools of praise and blame for a higher way, a gentler way, a surer one. Judge not that ye be not judged, said the Master, and this is not a moral scolding. It is a description of an atmosphere, a law of life. Whatever judgment you send out creates the air you must breathe. Whatever praise you lavish creates the burden another must carry and the debt you must pay. Some of you are tired tonight, not from work, but from people-pleasing on one side and condemnation on the other, tired of keeping up the performance of being good, tired of watching for the floor to pounce on, tired of the swing of the pendulum. There is a third way, healing without judgment, love without flattery, clarity without condemnation. And the way of that is this: before you speak, behold a person without qualities. That is the hook on which you may hang the day. Before you open the mouth, open the eye behind the eyes. Behold not a father or a daughter, not a client or a clerk, not a stranger or a spouse, but a person without qualities. Why? Because in God's universe, as to their essence, they are neither good nor evil. You say, but this one is so kind, and in the next breath, that one is so difficult. In what sense are they not good or not evil? In the sense that the good is not embodied in them as personal possession, and the evil is not substance. Why callest thou me good? The Master said. None is good save one, that is God. Do you see? Withdraw the value from the appearance and locate it in the invisible love that animates. When you behold the one before you as a person without qualities, you are not emptying them out into nothingness. You are emptying the mask so that the Christ may be seen. Persona is mask. We have all worn them: mother, manager, prodigal, saint, 1,000 roles as in the theater. John Barrymore may play Hamlet without becoming Hamlet, and so it is with us. The part is not the person. The one you fear is a role. The one you idolize is a role. Strip the costume gently, not by argument but by recognition, and what remains is the person without qualities, the Son of God, Christ within, which is the only identity worth beholding. I and my Father are one is not a slogan for a Sunday. It is the truth behind your neighbor's eyes. All that the Father hath is mine is not your boast against another. It is the inheritance we share when we cease measuring one another by traits and scores. Now, do not think that this is airy. We keep our feet on the ground. The Word must become flesh in your emails, in your hallway hellos, in that hard conversation you have been postponing. So I ask you to try an experiment. Very simple. Before you speak before the text, the call, the meeting, the family talk, stop short and turn within for a breath, 2 breaths, 3. In that pause, do not attempt to manufacture a nicer thought. Do not try to fix them with mental screws. Simply withdraw praise and blame from the one before you. Withdraw the crown, withdraw the label, withdraw the indictment. Let the mind fall silent and whisper inwardly, if you must use words at all. This is a person without qualities. And then be still and know, not a trance, a recognition. You will feel the room change. You will feel the voice lower of itself. You will find some sentences never need to be born, and others come clothed in gentleness you could not have planned. You may say, but what if wrong has been done? Are we to make no distinctions? There is a difference between judgment and discernment. Judgment assigns identity, discernment guides conduct. Neither do I condemn thee, spoke the Christ, and then go and sin no more. Non-condemnation is not permissiveness. It is clear-sighted love, unhooked from the lie that personality is substance. When you behold a person without qualities, you are free to say yes or no, to establish boundaries, to ask for accountability, but you do so as one under no compulsion to inflate or to accuse. You will speak fewer words, and they will be straighter. I can of mine own self do nothing, said the Master. That is your freedom from the fixer's reflex. The word that must become flesh is not the cleverness of your mind. It is the inner word, the presence that goes before you to make the crooked places straight. Try this at the kitchen sink. When the spouse enters with a face you have learned to read too quickly. Try it in the car before you pick up the children. Try it with a colleague whose emails arrive like little storms. Try it when the neighbor waves and you remember the fence. Before you speak, behold. Before you correct, behold. Before you compliment, behold. You will discover that even your praise has been a chain, and your withholding of praise a petty power. As you remove both, space appears for the invisible good to reveal itself in a form you did not script. Sometimes it is a softened brow. Sometimes it is a question asked instead of a defense mounted. Sometimes it is silence that speaks the loudest. Sometimes nothing outward changes, and yet everything is changed because fear has been deprived of its air. Scripture is not our argument. It is our confirmation. Judge not is already alive in your breath. Be still and know is already the rhythm of your heart. I and the Father are one is the name you were given before the world was. Let these lines not be rehearsed as magic, but recognized as law. When Peter said, "Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God," he was not identifying a rare specimen. He was seeing what is true of identity. Practice seeing what Peter saw quietly, humbly, before you speak, and you will find that the very atmosphere of your house shifts. The dog rests easier. The children quarrel and return more quickly. The office feels less like a trial. Why? Because you have withdrawn a subtle violence from the air, the violence of praise and blame. So let us agree for the space of this work together. No one in this room is being judged. Not by me, not by you, not by yourself. You are released from the burden of being good. You are released from the shame of being bad. You are a person without qualities, and so is the one you fear and the one you love. From that foundation we will speak, and our words will be few and fruitful. The word must become flesh, yes, but only after the eye has become single. Therefore, before you speak, behold, and watch the room change. Why keep our feet on the ground? Because the word must become flesh. If all our realization lives in a fine vapor above the sink and never reaches the sponge, if it sings in our meditation chair and goes mute at the grocery checkout, it is not yet realization. It is rehearsal. The test is not whether we can speak beautifully about God, but whether, when the email arrives with its sharp edges, our tone is softened before reply. Whether, when the child spills the juice for the third time, our breath remembers, be still and know. Before our mouth remembers instruction. Be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, wrote James. Not doers as in activists of the human will, but doers as in embodiments, incarnations of an inner law that makes for gentler conversations and straighter paths in ordinary life. We can live in an atmosphere of meditation and still shop for groceries, still answer the phone, still parent children through homework, meltdowns, and soccer carpools. Do not erect a wall between the sacred and the Tuesday afternoon. I am not speaking of two different worlds, but of two concepts of the same universe. One in which you judge by appearance and so live by reactivity. Another in which you behold the invisible presence and so live by grace. If you think the spiritual life is an escape into a private dream where nothing ever tugs at your sleeve, you will miss the only evidence that matters. By their fruits ye shall know them, fruits you can taste, fruits you can see on your calendar and hear in the way you say good morning. The word must become flesh, become the lowered voice, the timely word, the clear no, and the unforced yes. There is nothing ethereal about a softened brow. There is nothing impractical about a meeting that would have been a skirmish and instead becomes a conversation. There is nothing otherworldly about a bill that is met on the day it is due without scheming, because somewhere 2 weeks earlier the inner nudge said, "Not that purchase today," and you obeyed it. This is spirituality expressing as order. Take no thought for your life. Is not an invitation to carelessness, it is a rearrangement of causation. First the inner beholding, then the outer provision. First I can of mine own self do nothing, and then the presence that goes before you to make the crooked places straight. You will know this principle is incarnating when the ordinary scenes of your life begin to carry a different fragrance. Watch the kitchen. The plates are the same, the budget is the same, the personalities still wear their mourning hair, and yet the tension that used to precede the first sentence is not there. You did not manipulate it. You removed praise and blame and turned within. In that 3-second stillness, the next word came, the one that does not bruise. That is the word becoming flesh. Watch The Office. The colleague who writes like a thunderstorm writes again, and your index finger does not leap for the keyboard. There is a pause, a beholding, and then a line appears in you. Thank you for raising this. Here is what I can commit to by Friday. Here is what I cannot. That is boundary without battle. Let your yea be yea, and your nay, nay, said the Master. Not to shame you into politeness, but to spare you from the storm of overpromising and the hangover of resentment. I do not ask you to believe this because it sounds noble. I ask you to test it in the aisles of your supermarket. The clerk scanner fails. A line forms. You feel your body lean forward to join the invisible chorus of complaint. Stop short. Turn within. Behold the person without qualities. Withdraw the praise you would offer the efficient clerk. Withdraw the blame you are ready to lay on the slow one. Wait. In that wait you will hear the inner word, and very often it is not a sentence at all. It is a relaxation of the face. Do you know that such a face can do more to keep a line moving than any speech? You may say quietly, "Take your time." Or you may say nothing, and someone else will speak the calming word. The provision appears not as a mystical halo, but as a second register opening, a manager arriving at just that moment. Is that magic? No. It is order where once there was demand. It is the kingdom as leaven worked into Monday. At home, a teenager returns late. The old way rushes to lecture, to praise when they are early, and to condemn when they are late, binding the child to your scoreboard. The incarnational way begins in the same place as always. Before you speak, behold. From there, a different faculty takes up the conversation. You may still say, "We keep agreements in this house," and you may still change the car keys protocol for a time, but the sentence will be without sting, and the protocol without scorn. The fruit, pure arguments, quicker understanding. The unadvertised relief of a young person not having to live up to your praise or down to your blame. This is not permissiveness, it is governance. Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. Identity is released. Conduct is guided. In your finances, too, the Word must become flesh. I have no advice for the stock market, but I do have a practice. When anxiety picks up your checkbook and shakes it, put it down, turn within. Behold the One. If you must use words, all that the Father hath is mine, not to inflate a human account, but to relocate supply to its source. Then let the next practical step present itself. It may say, pay this today. It may say, make that call. It may say, wait 24 hours. Very often, while you are waiting, an invoice you had forgotten clears, or a refund arrives, or your appetite for a purchase dissolves, and with it the need you thought you had. That is quiet provision. Not fanfare, not crisis, not a dream world, simply order. Why keep our feet on the ground? Because if we do not, we build a chapel where we cannot live. We speak of love and then make a stranger of the one who irritates us at breakfast. We speak of peace and then hurry our children as if time were a foe to be beaten. We speak of God and then believe a meeting room is godless territory where only sharp elbows work. We cannot live split like that and remain whole. The ground is where the Spirit comes to prove itself as the very fabric of Tuesday. The Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. Not ideas about the Word, not debates about the Word. The Word itself, as gentleness at 9 o'clock, as clarity at noon, as forgiveness at sundown. Some of you are afraid that if you stop using praise and blame, chaos will rush in. Experiment and see that the opposite is true. Chaos ended with judgment. Order returns with beholding. You will not become passive. You will become precise. You will not become mushy. You will become simple. You will not float away. You will walk straighter. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Paths are feet things. They are thresholds, sidewalks, driveways, hallways. To acknowledge is to pause and behold before you enter any of these, and then to let the acknowledgement choose your word and your step. If you do not see these fruits yet, do not accuse yourself. Return to the protocol. Stop short. Turn within. Behold the person without qualities before you. Refuse praise and refuse blame. Wait for the next word. Then say it, or do not say anything and let silence speak. The proof will not be thunder. It will be the steady easing of the places that used to not. It will be the meeting you dreaded becoming a useful hour. It will be a day that ends without the aftertaste of having performed for or against anyone. This is how the presence goes before you. This is how the crooked places straighten under your feet. And so it is that we keep our feet on the ground, not as a concession to the world, but as a witness that the world is God's, and we are here to see it so, and to let that seeing become the way we speak and the way we live. We have agreed to breathe in an atmosphere where no one is being judged. Now let us face the paradox that keeps that atmosphere clear. Things, people, and conditions are neither good nor evil. In what sense are they not? In the sense that the good is not inside the thing, nor the evil inside the condition. The value is not in the figure before our eyes, but in the invisible love that animates all true showing. Why callest thou me good? Said the Master. None is good save one, that is God. That is not an insult to goodness. It is a location device. It tells you where to find the treasure so you will not lose it. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, not from a bracelet, not from a paycheck, not from a human personality, however charming. Consider a flower lei placed around your neck on a warm evening. Fragrance, color, softness upon the skin, oh, you might be moved to tears. And yet the lei is neither good nor evil. It is petals strung on a cord. The good you felt was the love that gave it. the intention that welcomed you, the life that formed it from sunlight and rain. Tomorrow the fragrance fades, next week the blossoms are dry. Has your good dissolved? Not if you know where your good was located. Then consider a rug in the living room, a beautiful rug, hand-woven, colors that make the whole house seem generous. We say, what a good rug. But the rug is neither good nor evil. It is wool and dye and pattern. Spill coffee on it, and the mind leaps to loss. But what has been threatened, not the love that made your home a sanctuary, not the presence that warms the room when the family gathers, or think of a ring, the ring grandmother gave you, the one you touch when you need courage. One day it is misplaced, and a flush rises in the chest. You turn drawers inside out. You accuse no one, perhaps, but inside storms gather. What was endangered? The ring is gold and stone. The courage was never in it. The courage was in the life that breathed your grandmother's blessing and that still breathes, whether the ring returns to the finger or no. Try to see what happens when you withdraw misplaced value from forms. When you do not lodge your good in an object, you withdraw the fear of losing it. If the vase on the mantel must hold your joy, then your joy can be broken. If the job title must hold your worth, then your worth can be demoted. If the compliment must hold your peace, then your peace can be silenced by the next critique. But when you say, my good is invisible to human sense, it belongs to God and flows as needed, the objects become what they are, useful, beautiful, temporary, and your security moves to where moth and rust do not corrupt and thieves do not break through nor steal. And so it is that you can love the lay, enjoy the rug, cherish the ring, and yet remain free. Now apply this in the relationships where most of our storms arise. Do not invest virtue in the personality nor malice in the mood. You say, he is my rock, and the next day, she ruined my day. But in what sense can a person be your rock or your ruin? In the human sense, roles and temperaments appear steady, capricious, sunny, sullen. Persona, after all, is mask. But if you locate your good in the invisible love, you will reckon differently. The smile across the table is lovely, but the love that animates smiles is your good. The frown at the door is difficult, but the life behind that furrow is untouched, and that is your reference point. And therefore, when the spouse enters with heavy steps, you do not ascribe malice to those steps. You do not credit virtue to yesterday's likeness. You behold the one life behind both appearances, and let that life tell you whether to speak, to listen, or to be silent. When the colleague delays again, you do not condemn their identity as irresponsible, nor do you canonize their identity when they finally deliver. You take responsibility for your boundaries, you make your agreements plain, and all the while you keep the value where it belongs in the presence that orders all things in its season. Some of you ask, if I stop praising, will I not become cold? If I stop blaming, will I not become naive? No, praise and blame are the pendulum of personal opinion. Love is the steady flame that neither flatters nor condemns. When you withdraw praise that binds and blame that wounds, you do not cease to appreciate. You cease to make idols and scapegoats. You will still say thank you, but you will say it to God in them. You will still say no, but you will say it without the sting of identity attack. Man looketh on the outward appearance, Scripture tells us, but the Lord looketh on the heart. Learn to join that gaze. Look past the expression on the face to the life that is the face's source. Look past the words themselves to the breath that gives the tongue power to bless. We look not at the things which are seen, Paul said, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. There is a reason that Christ could say to the one taken in the very act, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. The act was not ignored. The identity was not equated with the act. The mask did not become the person. When you withhold identity judgment, you are free to correct conduct. When you stop worshiping conduct, you are free to behold identity. And the astonishing thing is this: conduct often reorganizes in the presence of such seeing, not always according to your timetable, but in proportion to how completely you stop fastening labels on the one before you. Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth. Does not bid you reject earth. It bids you fasten your love in the invisible so that your expressions here are clean and your attachments free. Let me offer a simple scene that you will recognize. You notice the ring is missing. The pulse of panic starts up. In the old habit, you would ransack the room, accuse the children inwardly, berate yourself, lose an afternoon to the search and an evening to the story you tell about it. Try a different order, stop short, turn within. Father, thou art my good. If the ring is needed as an instrument of remembrance, let it be revealed. If not, let me remember without it. My good is not metal, my good is thee. Then look calmly. Sometimes you will find it at once as if it walked back under your hand. Sometimes it will not return, and yet the knowing is gone, and in a day or a week another form appears, a letter from an old friend, a fragrance in the air, a quiet assurance by which the invisible good makes itself flesh again. But the fear of losing your good has been broken, and with it half the quarrels of a house. All of this is one practice under many faces. Stop placing value in appearances. Locate value in the invisible. Love that animates them. Say it of the objects you enjoy, neither good nor evil. Say it of the conditions that arise, neither good nor evil. Say it of the personalities that charm or chafe, neither good nor evil. The good is invisible, and because it is invisible, it can appear where and when it is needed in forms unimagined by your anxious mind. The kingdom of God is within you. Let the mind rest in that kingdom. Then, as needed, flowers will bloom, rugs will be mended, rings will be found or replaced, and words will come that soothe instead of sting. We keep our feet on the ground, yes, but they are grounded in what cannot be taken from us. And in that freedom, we are prepared for the next seeing. The mask will fall, and the person without qualities will remain. Now let us look at the face we think we know. Persona is mask. The very word comes from the stage. There is nothing sinful about a mask. It is the costume by which a part is played. A mother at breakfast, a manager in the meeting, a volunteer on Saturday, a critic on Sunday afternoon, these are parts. John Barrymore may play Hamlet with genius and still go home to his soup as John. He may be crowned with roses for the role and yet be, in substance, the same man who wore none of it. So with us. The praise and blame we have traded for years cleave to the costume. They do not touch identity. We have mistaken the wardrobe for the wearer, and so we have worn ourselves out guarding or warring against outfits. What then is a person without qualities? Not a blank human, not a washed-out personality so smooth that nothing living remains. A person without qualities means identity released from the burden of adjectives, from the cargo of good or bad, reliable or impossible, gifted or average. It means you behold essence, not epithet. You recognize the one life, Christ, as the true identity shining through the eyes before you. I and my Father are one is not the boast of a rare mystic. It is the ground of being. When you meet a face and silently relinquish your labels, saint, fool, ally, threat, you are not emptying the room. You are emptying the mask, and what remains is the one who ever liveth, the Son of the living God, which is the secret truth of identity. This is why the Master said, "Why callest thou me good? None is good, save one, that is God." In what sense? Not good. In the sense that goodness is not a personal possession stored in a roll of pockets. The good is invisible God, love, and from that invisibility it takes form as kindness, clarity, courage. But the courage does not belong to the mask called firefighter, and the meanness does not belong to the mask called neighbor. They are appearances. If you attach value to the appearance, you will have to defend it or destroy it. If you withdraw value to its source, you will be free to behold and to act without entanglement. There is neither good nor evil in the sense of personal substance. The good is invisible, and the evil is temporality, mask play, a thought parading as identity. We have spent years arguing with traits. We fight the stubborn child. We flatter the brilliant boss. We perform for the critical parent, and we despair over the hopeless addict. These are not people. These are costumes, sometimes very convincing. They can shout. They can weep. They can make bank deposits and break promises. But they cannot cancel identity. Nothing can cancel identity. All that the Father hath is mine, speaks for you, for your child, for your boss, for your neighbor, because the inheritance is of being, not of behavior. Do not argue with the mask. It was not designed to listen. Do not worship the mask. It was not designed to hold your devotion. Let it fall in your seeing, and the person remains Christ within. You may ask, will this not make me naive? Won't I be taken in? No, this is not a suggestion to pretend that harmful conduct is harmless. It is a release from attributing conduct to identity. Judgment assigns identity. Discernment guides conduct. You may still say, no, change the lock, make the call, draw the line. But you will not say it to a wolf or a failure. You will say it to a person, a son or daughter of God, whose present mask is misfitting. Neither do I condemn thee, releases identity, go and sin no more, addresses behavior. When the mask is not confused with the person, your no is clean, your yes is clean, and the conversation is not an argument between costumes, but an act of governance. Let your ye be ye and your nay, nay. Now to the practice. Before any word leaves your lips, make the Peter movement within. Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. Say it not as flattery to the human, not as a metaphysical slogan hurled across a table, but as recognition whispered in the heart. Try it with the one you fear. Try it with the one you adore. Try it with the face in the mirror. Pause, withdraw the adjectives, and let the heart see as Peter saw. You will notice that this seeing is not a thought you manufacture. It is an unveiling of what is already so. As you abide with it for even a breath, the next word or silence comes from a different place. The sentence that used to prove your point has no oxygen to live. The question that makes space for truth comes forward of itself. Flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. Make it specific. The email arrives with accusations. Do not reply to the mask of accuser, and do not become the mask of defender. Stop short. Turn within. Behold a person without qualities. If you must use words, Christ liveth in thee and in me, then answer only the question that belongs to the day, with as few sentences as suffice, or do not answer until the answer comes clean. Or a teenager rolls their eyes. The mask named disrespect comes toward you with a smirk. Do not combat the smirk. Behold the person. Thou art the Christ in the quiet of your chest. Then perhaps you will say, take 10 minutes. We'll talk after dishes. Or perhaps you will laugh, and the smirk will dissolve because it had no partner. You may say, but I cannot hold this vision. My mind returns to the old labels. Do not scold it. Return to the protocol. Neither good nor evil in the costume. The good is invisible. Neither hero nor villain in the dossier. The life is God. Henceforth know we no man after the flesh, wrote Paul. The flesh is the mask, the role, the resume, the rumor. Know after spirit. You will not accomplish this by effort. You will relax into it by recognition. And each time you lapse, you are not cast out, you simply turn within again. It is like the eyes adjusting from stage lights to daylight. At first, every face looks like it's makeup. Then, little by little, the makeup is seen for paint, and the person stands simple and unadorned. To help yourselves, use the small litany of release. When you catch the mind attaching, say inwardly, this is neither good nor evil, this is a mask, this is a uniform, this is a resume, this is a rumor. Then, behold, this is a person, this is Christ. Do not try to improve the mask. Do not try to strip it from another with your fingers. Let it fall in your seeing, and you will be surprised how often it falls from their behavior. Not always at once, and not always according to your script, but often enough that you will know this is law and not luck. We all, with open face, beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord, are changed, not by argument, but by beholding. And so it is that when the mask falls, Christ remains. When the adjectives depart, identity stands. And when you look past traits and roles to behold the one life, you find your words gentled and your steps guided without the strain of personal will. Now, as the mask falls and the person without qualities remains, what then? We do not pick up the tools of the old life and try to improve them. We do not take a subtler hammer to the same nails. We turn within. I can of mine own self do nothing, said the Master. Let that sentence set you free from the tyranny of mental fixing. You have tried to compose better speeches, to anticipate every move, to arrange outcomes by sheer thought. That is weariness. Lay it down. The Christ you behold is not something you push into place. It is presence revealing itself. Your part is to consent, to yield the initiative, to let the inner presence go before you and make the crooked places straight. What does it mean that the presence goes before you? It is not a figure walking down a hallway ahead of you while you trail behind. It is consciousness in action. The old language called them angels. Do not limit angels to feathers and wings. Angels are ideas carried on the breath of God. They are the quiet adjustments in another's heart before your words arrive. They are the shift in timing that avoids a collision. They are the remembrance that returns at the exact moment a name is needed. They are the softening of your own face before the door opens. I will go before thee and make the crooked places straight is not poetry. It is a law. When you relinquish the personal will that strives and replaces it with inward acknowledgement, something goes before you, an activity of love, not seen but very much felt, and it prepares the way where your plans could not. How then do we yield to this? Here is the simplest protocol, and you already know the first movement. Stop short, turn within, be still. Withdraw praise and withdraw blame from yourself and from the one before you. Inwardly consent. Father, thou go before me. I withhold my tongue until thy word is given. Wait one breath, 2, 3. You are not waiting for a voice from the ceiling. You are waiting for a relaxation, a release, an inner rightness. Let the next word come to you rather than from you. If the next word is silence, let silence go before you. If the next word is no, let it be simple and clean. If the next word is tell me more, let that curiosity be free of strategy. This is not technique. It is trust. You are trusting the presence to originate your speech and your step. Do not fear that take no thought will turn you into a drifter. It will not. Take no thought for what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour, is not an invitation to negligence, but to priority. Guidance precedes speech. Direction precedes action. Order precedes schedule. You will still answer the call, still send the email, still cook the meal, still attend the meeting. Only now the doing will be sourced, not forced. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Paths are specific. They are not clouds. They are front steps and office corridors and hospital hallways. To acknowledge is to pause before you place your foot. And in that pause, the path straightens by a wisdom you did not cobble together. Let us make this concrete. The child is weeping over a page of math. Your history leaps to fix, explain, correct, urge, perhaps scold, perhaps praise last week's success as leverage. Stop short. Turn within. Withdraw your story of the struggling child and your story of the good helper. Behold a person without qualities. Consent inwardly. Father, thou speak. Wait. The next word comes simple. We will take 3 breaths together. You do that, and something unknots. Or the next word is, put it away for 10 minutes. You do that, and when the book opens again, the numbers feel less like enemies. Or the next word is an honest limit. I cannot do it for you, but I can sit beside you. Notice, none of these are heroic. They are precise. They are given in the hour, and they spare both of you the bruise of over-effort. At work, a meeting waits that by habit turns into a skirmish. The hallway is your sanctuary. Stop short at the threshold. Turn within. The mind wants to preload arguments, to organize your exhibits, to rehearse rebuttals. Lay it down. Withdraw praise and blame from the ones inside that room. Do not carry crowns or stones through the door. Consent, the presence goes before me. In that consent, an angel goes ahead, not a creature, but a function of love. Perhaps it rearranges the seating. Perhaps it dislodges someone's defensiveness before the first minute has passed. Perhaps it hushes your own impulse to interrupt. When you enter, the sentence given you is not a performance. It is clean. Here is what I can do by Friday. Here is what I cannot. Or perhaps the first word is a question that reveals a misunderstanding lying under the whole quarrel. You will feel the room change because you did not bring your war into it. The neighbor has been critical. The fence is the symbol, but the sting is older. He is bent over his roses as you return from work. The old reflex wants either the sugar of flattery to keep the peace or the spice of sarcasm to settle the score. Stop short on the sidewalk. Turn within. Withdraw the identity, difficult man. Withdraw also the mask, good neighbor. Consent to be led. The next word may be no word at all, a nod, a face without edge, and you pass with a peace that is not brittle. Or the next word is simple and accountable. I'll trim my side on Saturday. The transaction is without drama. Later that week, unbidden, a bag of cuttings appears by your bin. The air is different. Did you orchestrate it? No. You removed your interference and the presence went before you. What if you hear nothing? What if the pause remains a pause? Then let the pause itself be your speech. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Holding your peace is sometimes the only word that will keep the day from collapsing into rumors and reaction. Silence is not absence. It is often the angel that prevents harm. And do not be surprised when the word finally comes in a form you did not expect. A line from Scripture overheard as you pass a radio, a memory from childhood, a picture of a face you should call. Angels do not always use your front door. They come by the window of your attention, and if your attention is calm, they find a welcome. You may say, but time is short. Decisions must be made. Yes, and the presence that goes before you is not slow. Waiting one breath is not delay, it is precision. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. The mounting is not escape, it is perspective. From that height you see the path that lies directly under your feet and the ditch you nearly stepped into. Then you take the step, one step, and do not mortgage the next 10. Give us this day our daily bread. Daily bread is daily word, daily wisdom, daily sufficiency. Test this in the small decisions where no one is watching. Before you answer the text, before you sign your name, before you ask the question, stop short, turn within, withdraw praising and blaming. Consent to be led. Let the next word come to you. You will not become passive. You will become precise. You will not become irresponsible. You will become reliable. You will not become vague. You will become simple. And the fruits will report back to you without trumpet. Fewer quarrels, clearer boundaries, provision without panic, a day that ends without the residue of having pushed your way through. Scripture is our confirmation. My presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. It shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. These are not museum pieces. They are living instructions, tested in kitchens and cubicles. Guidance and healing flow when we let the inner presence go before us and supply the next word or step. And so, in the hour that soon will come when you are about to speak, remember, stop short and turn within. Consent. Wait one breath. Then walk into the room already accompanied by the one who has gone before, and you will find, to your quiet amazement, that the crooked place you feared is already straight. Let us learn a practice so small the mind may doubt it, and so faithful that if you will test it, it will change the weather of your conversation. 30 seconds, not 30 minutes. 30 seconds of beholding before you speak. Be still and know that I am God. In those seconds, the room becomes different, though the furniture is the same. The drafts of praise and blame stop moving. The papers of yesterday's case slip back into the drawer. You do not postpone the meeting. You change the medium in which it is held. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold, says Proverbs, but the fit word is born of the fit atmosphere. So we begin with the smallest obedience. Before a word leaves your lips, stop and behold. Step 1, stop. Close the mental file. You know the one, the dossier with dates and exhibits, the emails printed and underlined, the mental reruns of the last 3 attempts. Close it. Lay your hand on your chest for one slow breath. Release the history and the case you have built. Take no thought for the morrow does not mean do not plan. It means do not let thought become your Pharaoh. In this stop, you are not refusing responsibility. You are reclaiming authority. You step out from under the lash of reaction. You do not answer on schedule. You answer in truth. 15 seconds will do. The breath will find you. The shoulders will drop. The tongue will remember that it is not a weapon but an instrument. The stop is the doorway. Take it. Step 2, withdraw labels. Neither good nor evil in the appearance, neither hero nor villain in the part before you, neither fixer nor broken in the mirror, neither saint nor scapegoat at the table. Henceforth know we no man after the flesh, wrote Paul. The flesh is the mask, the habit, the role, the rumor. Withdraw the adjectives from the face across from you and from your own. Say inwardly, this is neither good nor evil. This is not a type. This is not a file. This is not a verdict. Do not praise to bind. Do not blame to bruise. This release takes courage because praise has felt like currency and blame like armor. But praise and blame are the pendulum. Love is the still point. 10 seconds more and you will feel the pendulum slow. Step 3, turn within. Do not invent a speech. Invite a presence. I can of mine own self do nothing. Let that sentence Take the crowns off your fear and your brilliance. Silently affirm, Father within, go before me. Prepare this path. Let love be the atmosphere here. That is not a spell, it is acknowledgement. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Paths are made under feet. They are the next sentence, the next tone. Let the inner word become flesh by giving it time to approach. Feel the breath as if it came from behind your heart. Do not reach for guidance like a swimmer flailing for the shore. Float. You are held. 5 seconds will do. Some days 1. Step 4. Behold. See what is before you without the blur of fixing or rating. This is not a problem to fix. This is a person to behold. This is not a performance to rate. This is a life to honor. The Lord looketh on the heart. Join that gaze. If you must use a phrase, let it be Peter's. Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. Do not hurl it outward. Whisper it inward as recognition. In the beholding, the temperature changes. The jaw unclenches. The eyes soften. The will gives way. You are not going limp. You are turning true. The mask loses magnetism. Identity begins to shine through. 5 seconds can do this much if the seconds are given wholly. Step 5, speak from presence. Offer only what arises in the quiet you have made. If a sentence comes, let it be simple. Let your yea be yea, and your nay, nay. If no sentence comes, keep the atmosphere and listen. When you must set the room with words, try these. You're not being judged in this room. We can take our time. I'm listening. Or, thank you for telling me. Here is what I can commit to today. Or, I need a moment. I will answer after lunch. These are not techniques. They are the shape your inward beholding takes when it becomes audible. Watch how often the shoulders across from you drop when yours do. That is the 30 seconds. 5 to stop, 10 to withdraw labels, 10 to turn within and behold. 5 to speak or keep still. You will not always need the half minute. Sometimes 3 breaths are enough. For 1 week, try it at every threshold before the call, at the doorway, in the reply box. You will find conversations that once sped toward the ditch now keep to the road. The peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds. It will not make you soft, where you must be clear. It will make you clear without being hard. Practice until the pause becomes the way of walking. Then even when you are hurried, the heart is not. The presence has gone before you, and the crooked place is straight. Let us take this out of the prayer chair and into the rooms where we live. The presence that goes before you does not live only in psalms and pews. It meets you at the family table, in the conference room, on the sidewalk, by the hedge. And there, if you will behold the person without qualities and let the inner word become your outer word, you will witness a quiet reordering that you did not engineer. A soft answer turneth away wrath, says Scripture. The softness is not weakness. It is the absence of praise and blame. It is the steadiness of love. At the family table, a teenager arrives late, shoulders high, gaze low, and the tone, oh, you know this tone comes sharp with sarcasm. The mask named disrespect seems to sit down before the person does. The old theater in you wants its old script, lecture or leverage, or the sugar of compliment to buy a better mood. Stop short, turn within, withdraw your labels. Not problem child, not ingrate, not even my rock when she wants to be. Behold a person without qualities. Let the presence go before you to prepare 1 clean sentence. You breathe once. Be still and know that I am God is not a wall hanging. It becomes a pause between the fork and the mouth. Out of that pause, the word given is not a sermon. It is a question from recognition, not strategy. Is there something you want me to know before we start? Or would you like quiet or help tonight? Notice what is absent. No edge, no bait. Let your yea be yea, and your nay, nay. The first answer may still be bobbed, whatever, but the atmosphere has been altered. You are not playing the opposite part. You are not auditioning for provoked parent. A minute passes. The shoulders lower a fraction. A second question is given, or no question is needed. The plate is pushed back. I bombed the quiz. The mask slips. A person sits before you. You set one gentle boundary for the table. No slurs. If you need to be loud, we take it to the porch, without heat, without apology performance. Later, in the hallway, a hand brushes your arm. Thanks for not making it a thing. The behavior reorganizes, not because you pressured it, but because you refuse the praise, blame economy that makes rebellion a currency. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. The Spirit was allowed to be Lord at supper, and liberty appeared as a softened answer and a truth told. Now walk with me into a tough meeting. The project is behind. The room hums with subtext. One colleague, gifted and tired, has been fishing for praise in every check-in, starved by old scarcities. In other weeks, you have paid the toll, exaggerated compliments to keep the peace, then private annoyance when the work slipped. That road ends in resentment. Today we try another way. Stop short at the door. Turn within. Withdraw the crowns and the stones you've been carrying. Withdraw also the personal hunger to be seen as the fair one who pleases both sides. Behold a person without qualities. Consent. Father, thou speak. When the time comes, your eyes are clear. You neither flatter nor fault find. You honor the work without bondage. These two sections are strong. They serve the outcome. You name the gap without sting. This third section is not yet usable. Here is what is missing. Then a simple offer and a boundary. I can take the sourcing by Thursday. I cannot own the narrative beyond that. No hook praise is given. No identity attack is launched. You ask one question that invites adulthood. What support do you need to bring this to done? At first the colleague stiffens. No sugar, no hit. But because there is no condemnation either, another presence fills the room. The fishing line is reeled back. I need an hour with you on Tuesday to sort the frame. Granted. The clarity that emerges is not the triumph of your will. It is the government of love over the details. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. The path in this case is a calendar block, a crisp handoff, a meeting ended on time, and you notice an after effect. Later that week, you receive an email without a plea for gold stars, just a clean update. Behavior reorganized when you remove the economy of flattery and blame. The good was not in the compliment. The good was in the order that came when the invisible source was let to govern. Step with me now onto the sidewalk. The neighbor has had enough of Saturday's laughter, enough of the guitar, enough of the footfall above their ceiling. Notes have been slipped under your door. A complaint sits on the tongue. The mind wants theater, either excess apology to buy a truce or sharp defense to win a point. Stop short at the gate. Turn within. Withdraw the caricature, irritable man. Withdraw the mask, perfect neighbor you would like to wear. Behold a person without qualities, and behold yourself likewise. Let love go before you. You cross the grass without performance. His complaint bursts out, well rehearsed. You do not interrupt. You do not nod theatrically. When the inner rightness comes, your words are few and straight. I hear that the late noise is too much. I will keep it down after 9. If we plan a gathering, I'll put a note in your box 2 days before. No heat, no gravel. A boundary for you as well. If there's an issue, please knock before it becomes a letter. The mask in him wavers. You see something else flash through the eyes, fatigue, maybe, or loneliness. He says, I'm up at 5, the walls are thin. A fact, not a weapon. Understood. You part. Sunday afternoon, there is no note. A week later, a bag of lemons appears at your door from his tree, unsigned. Did you melt him with charm? No. You removed the friction of identity drama. You set a clean line in a clean tones. Blessed are the peacemakers, not the appeasers, not the aggressors. Peacemaking is the activity of the presence that goes before, and you consented to it. You will notice a pattern. When you behold the person without qualities, pressure leaves the room. You are not pushing a river uphill, and you are not waiting for it to flood you. You are consenting to the law that already flows. In that atmosphere, people often sober, literally and figuratively. I have seen men reeking of liquor come into a room where no one was being judged and in 10 minutes sit up straighter, ask for water, remember their last name, not because we campaigned, because we beheld. I have seen a child, armed with sarcasm as a shield, drop the weapon when no one admired it or feared it. I have seen a colleague, hungry for applause, do their best work when the applause was replaced by exact requirements and a shared purpose. Judge not that ye be not judged is not a slogan. It is air. When you breathe it, others can breathe too. And then action becomes obvious and kind, a consequence given without edge, a yes said without entanglement, a no spoken without injury. Do not expect the world to present you with soft targets. Expect the presence to be sufficient in you. Some will relax at once. Some will reveal the true need beneath the behavior, a failed quiz, a calendar pinch, a 5 a.m. alarm. Some will not change today, but you will be kept from their storm. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Not as the world giveth by trading praise for performance, blame for fear, but as the inner Christ giveth, a peace that governs conduct because it refuses to make conduct into identity. Practice this in small scenes, and you will be entrusted with larger ones. Before the table talk, before the meeting, before the knock at the fence, stop short, turn within, behold, let one clean question, one clean boundary, one clean silence be given you, and watch, not with glee but with gratitude, as behavior reorganizes around a center that does not move. Now we extend this from the single breath to the shared room. If one life is freed when praise and blame are withdrawn, what happens when a whole room is released from that burden? Let us name the ethic plainly so the air can hear it. In this room, no one is praised and no one is condemned. You are not being judged here, therefore you are free. Free from proving, free from hiding, free from the ache of earning a place and the fear of losing it. Judge not that ye be not judged is not merely a private warning. It is the charter of a fellowship. With what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again. Then let us meet no identity to one another but Christ alone, and the measurement that returns is freedom. How do we build such a field? We do not start by policies and posters. We start by a pause. At the threshold of a gathering, a family meal, a staff huddle, a committee in the church basement, let there be 30 seconds of shared quiet, feet on the ground, hands at rest. Do not make a ceremony of it. Make it a courtesy to the presence. In that pause, withdraw praise and blame from the air. One sentence will do, spoken simply by whoever convenes. Friends, in this room, no one is being evaluated. We will behold one another as persons without qualities and listen for the next right word. Then keep the silence a little longer than is comfortable. In those spare seconds, the private rehearsal of speeches begins to drain away and something goes before you. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them. In his name means in his nature, without condemnation, without flattery, without fear. Children, animals, and the sensitive are the first to report when the field has changed. The dog that paces during arguments will curl at someone's feet and sleep. The child who tightens at the first hint of being graded will look up from the plate and volunteer a story without being called on. Even the plants seem to breathe easier. You will think I exaggerate until you have seen a room go from metallic to warm without a single new cushion, only the withdrawal of a hidden tribunal. Perfect love casteth out fear. Fear is the draft under every door when praise and blame run the meeting. Remove the draft, and voices that never speak find their tone, bodies that never rest uncoil. Let me offer you a household table. The old habit was to begin with reports. How did you do on the quiz? Did you finish the yard? Compliments if numbers were high, a tightening if they were not. No malice, just the law of the pendulum. Try this instead. Everyone sits. No one reaches for the spotlight. One says, let us be still for a half minute. We are not measuring one another tonight. We are here to behold Christ and to eat bread. Die-hard minds will fidget, do not worry. The pause is stronger than fidgeting. Then perhaps the mother, who usually directs the flow, remains silent, and the shy child begins. I saw a hawk at recess. No trumpet, just the hawk, then a laugh, then the math that used to be defended, now spoken of without dread, because it is not being used as a key to the kingdom. The dinner ends without the ache of unspoken fear. Harmony has appeared not by coaxing, but by atmosphere. A small office will do as well. The weekly meeting had turned into a theater of resumes. Each report was an advertisement, each question a veiled judgment. Someone reads this word and says, before we begin, 30 seconds, we will not praise or condemn in this room. We will name facts and offer help. It is said without edge, without spirituality as superiority. The silence holds. The first person, who normally begins, I crushed last quarter, instead says, 3 things worked, 1 didn't. I need a second set of eyes. There is no performance to applaud, no failure to despise, only work to be done. Cooperation rises because competition is not being fed. Be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love. In honor preferring one another is not sentiment. It is the practical ethic of a room emptied of comparison. Consider a neighborhood group that had grown sharp over a fence, a parking spot, the usual little altars where we sacrifice our peace. The gathering begins with rules about time and tone, and still the barbs fly. Add this, a pause, then a sentence. We are not here to score points. No one is on trial. We are here to see what love would have us do to dwell together. Again, no sermon, just a clearing. In one such room, I watched an older man known for his thunder lean back and breathe before he spoke. He did not become a saint. He became reachable. The sentence he gave lost its fist and kept its content. I need 2 hours quiet in the morning. Can we arrange the work after 9? Watch how practical that is. When judgment is lifted, the shy speak, the angry breathe, and usable sentences come short, clean, yes or no, this or that. Speaking the truth in love becomes not a slogan, but a procedure. You may wonder, but if we do not praise, how will we encourage? If we do not condemn, how will we correct? Encouragement and correction remain. Only the identity assigning sugar and acid are withdrawn. Appreciation is not praise. It is gratitude to God in the person. Thank you for staying late is pure when it is not an award pinned to a costume. It is recognition of love expressing as willingness. Correction is not condemnation. It is clarity about conduct given to a person. No, we will not use that tone here, said without a label attached. is governance without insult. Charity thinketh no evil, Paul reminds us. Thinketh no evil is not blindness. It is refusal to attribute evil to identity. When the room breathes that, boundaries become easier, not harder, because no one's worth is at stake. Do not expect the field to hold itself at first. It is like any room, you must open the windows daily. Begin each gathering with a shared pause and the one sentence that removes evaluation. If you forget and the old theater begins, it is never too late to reopen the window. Someone can say, friends, may we take 10 seconds and lay down the scales. The very asking often diffuses the heat. And do not be surprised if the results begin with little signs. Fewer interruptions, softer faces, a meeting that ends on time without the sense of unfinished business haunting the hall. Fruit grows quietly. Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Unity is not unanimity. It is an atmosphere where persons without qualities can appear as themselves and find their place without performing. One last testimony, because it will help you trust what is invisible. A class once gathered with two men in the back who were, shall we say, not sober. The temptation in the human sense was to arrange, to control, to guard the door. Instead, we opened with the pause, spoke the sentence, and beheld Christ in the room without exception. No one was praised for being composed. No one was condemned for being uncomposed. Within minutes, a hush settled that had nothing to do with glare or threat. Those men sobered not in blood chemistry, perhaps, but in attention. They sat up. They listened. They wept quietly. We did not do that. The presence went before us, and the Mass could not keep its balance in that air. I mention it to say, do not underestimate the governance of atmosphere. The lamb and the wolf cannot coexist in the logic of personal will, but the wolf also shall dwell with the lamb in the climate of love, which is to say, in a room without praise or condemnation. So try it tonight at the table, tomorrow in the hallway, stop at the threshold, turn within, then say the simplest sentence, in this room no one is being judged, and then act accordingly. You will see that spontaneity returns because nothing is at stake but truth. You will see that cooperation rises without coercion because no one is defending a mask. You will feel relief, not because problems have been denied, but because persons have been beheld. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts, and let it rule in your room. The presence that goes before you will take that ruling seriously and make the crooked places straight in ways that make ordinary life gentle again. Now, because we are beginning to see some fruit, the old hooks begin to show themselves. They slip out from under the rug as if to say, just a little help, please, just a little sugar, a little push, a little fear to keep things in line. And so we meet three of them: the hunger for praise, the reflex to fix, and the fear that without judgment chaos will run the room. Let us meet them without blame. These are not sins to confess, they are habits to release. They are neither good nor evil in themselves. They are masks our culture has worn so long we think they are our face. We withdraw valuation from the mask and we look within for the correction. We turn within. And the presence that goes before us furnishes a new way to speak and to stand. First, praise. You have heard me say it. Praise can bind as much as blame. Flattery creates a debt. It builds a little altar to an image and then demands sacrifices to keep the image alive. Why did the Master say, "Why callest thou me good? None is good save one, that is God." Not to refuse appreciation, but to unhook identity from the complement economy. If goodness does not originate in the person, flattery cannot inflate the person, and blame cannot deflate him. He that glorieth, let him glory in the Lord. Glory in the source. And forms can be admired without being worshipped. Try this in the small. A child runs in with a paper covered in stars. The habit is to cry, "You're the smartest," and to mortgage their peace to a label that must be paid again next week. Stop short. Turn within. Behold a person without qualities, and then bless the fruit without binding the identity. You stayed with it to the end. Thank you for your care. Do you feel the difference? Identity is free. Conduct is named. No debt is created. At work, a colleague arrives fishing for affirmation. In former days, we traded coins, flattery for compliance, then annoyance in secret. Today, we withhold the coins and offer clean currency. These lines do the job. This section needs to meet the requirement. If there is gratitude to give, give it straight. Thank you for delivering on time. Do not decorate it with halos. If there is a gap, name it without sting. Not yet. Here is what yes needs. To the loved one at home who performs for applause, the line may be this: I love you, and I won't feed an image. I will tell you the truth in love. The first days may feel lean without sweets, but lean is not lack. It is health returning. Do thy alms in secret, that is, let love flow from source, not as theater. And you will watch the face relax because it is released from earning oxygen by applause. Next, the fixer. Rescuing is a subtle form of control. It walks in with helpful hands and a superior heart. It says, let me, when love has not said, send me. The fixer believes the good is in the doing, and so it does beyond the line of grace. I can of mine own self do nothing is our release from that tyranny. We turn within and we ask, is there a word for me, a step for me, or a stillness for me? Sometimes the presence gives you a towel and you wash feet. Sometimes the presence gives you a chair and you sit beside without fixing. Sometimes it gives you a no, and that no is love. A teenager forgets again. The fixer leaps to repack the backpack. Love says, I respect you and not this behavior. I will not bring the lunch. I will help you set a reminder for tomorrow. A friend calls in crisis for the third time this month. The fixer starts a speech and drafts a budget. Love says, I can meet you Thursday at 3. I cannot loan money. Here is the number of the counselor. I will go with you to the first appointment if you like. No superiority, no disdain. You will find that bear ye one another's burdens is fulfilled without canceling. Every man shall bear his own burden. The presence leads both the embrace and the limit. And then the fruit is clean. Self-respect grows where pity once smothered. Managers, take note. The fixer lives in your pen. You rewrite the paragraph at midnight because you can, and then you resent the one who learns nothing. Stop short before your fingers touch the keys. Turn within. If the next word is help, let it be teaching, not substitution. Here is the pattern. Try again by noon. If the next word is ownership, let it be boundary. I can review, I will not author. You will not be less kind. You will be more useful. And the room will rise to the measure you no longer steal from them. Finally, the fear of chaos. If we stop judging, won't people misbehave? That fear is an old librarian guarding a quiet that is only hush, not peace. God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. Peace is not passivity. It is order without shame. We distinguish condemnation from discernment. Condemnation assigns identity to conduct. You are this failure. Discernment governs conduct without touching identity. This behavior does not belong here. Both can be spoken in one breath. I love you, and no, I respect you, and not this behavior. You belong, and this action does not. Do not think boundaries are a human invention. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The staff gathers, the rod guards. Comfort is the feeling of limits given in love. Test this in the room you fear will unravel. a classroom where yelling has been the only tool. Withdraw yelling. Do not withdraw clarity. In this room, voices stay below this line. If they rise, we stop and breathe. If it continues, you step into the hall with me. We return when peace returns. No heat, no humiliation. You will see restraint learned not from fear but from shared law. A home where curfew has become battle. I love you, and 9 is the line on school nights. If 9 is ignored, the car rests 2 days. We do not bargain at midnight. We talk at 4 tomorrow. No sermon, no sarcasm. The law stands like a door frame, and the presence stands within the house. A team that drifts. This is the deliverable. This is the date. This is the path. If we cannot meet it, we say so at once. We do not hide. We do not spin. Watch how peace appears not as silence, but as flow. Let your yea be yea, and your nay, nay. And let the inner presence give you both the yea and the nay. For those who ask for words, here are a few that often arrive when we consent to be led. I love you and know I want the best for you, and I will not participate in this. I respect you, and this behavior is not welcome in our home. I can do this. I cannot do that. I hear you, and I need time before I answer. I will listen. I will not be shouted at. I am here. I am not your opponent. These are not slogans to paste on a wall. They are lamps for feet. They will be given in the hour if you refuse to manufacture them for effect. Say them without edge. Hold them without apology. Let them rest on the invisible government that called them forth. So then, we renounce flattery and fault-finding alike. We lay down the sugar and the stones. We act from inner discernment with clear, gentle boundaries. We stop short and turn within. We withdraw our crowns and our condemnations. We consent to be led. And the presence goes before us. Angels rearrange a timing, soften a face, quiet an appetite for praise, remind a hand to stay by its side. Scripture is our quiet witness. Judge not. It shall be given you in that same hour. God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Let these not be arguments, but confirmation of what you will see when you practice. Behold the person without qualities. Speak the clean yes and the clean no that are given you, and watch the hooks unhook, the room exhale, and the day be governed not by fear of chaos, but by the presence that orders all things well. Let us lean now, not into argument, but into recognition. I am not here to marshal texts as soldiers for my opinion. I am here to point where the river runs and to say, this is the same river you have drunk from all your days. When the Master said, I and my Father are one, he was not offering a slogan for stained glass. He was naming the fact that identity precedes behavior. All that the Father hath is mine. Not will be mine when the conduct improves, is mine. When you and I behold a person without qualities, we are consenting to that fact before we ask for any fruit of it. We let identity be true, and the behavior follows in its time. If you insist upon the reverse, fix the behavior to earn identity, you will be forever tightening a screw that does not hold. The Word must become flesh, but it is the Word first, then the flesh. Hear also this tender correction. Why callest thou me good? None good save one, that is God. What is that if not an invitation to withdraw moral qualities from the mask? Good is invisible to human sense. It is the love behind the face, not the face. Evil as identity is a fiction. Evil as conduct may require a boundary, but we dare not fasten it to the person. When you stop praising the capable colleague to buy peace, when you decline to condemn the late teenager to make a point, you are practicing this sentence. You were saying, in effect, the apparent good I might flatter is not the good. The apparent fault I might bruise is not the fault in the only sense that matters. Then, as often happens, order arrived as emails without bait, as a softened I bombed the quiz, as a neighbor's lemons on your step. The good was not in your compliment. The good was in the presence allowed to govern when praise and blame were dismissed from office. Stand for a moment beside the woman taken in adultery. You know the scene. Stones in hands, law in mouths, heat in the air. Jesus writes in the dust. Then, one by one, the instruments of righteousness become silent. To her he does not say, you are excused because you are special, nor does he set a repayment plan of penances. He says, neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. Note the order. Non-condemnation precedes transformation. The human mind wants it the other way. Prove you will not sin, and I will withhold my stone. Love does not bargain. It reveals identity, neither do I condemn thee, and the revealing breaks the glue of shame. Then new conduct becomes possible. When you announced, in this room, no one is being judged, you enacted that first half. You did not promise indulgence. You promised recognition. And out of it, the sin no more becomes a practical next yes and no. The voice lowers. The schedule is agreed. The boundary is honored. Paul helps us with the vocabulary of this. He speaks of the man of the flesh and the child of God, of being carnally minded and spiritually minded, of the transformation by the renewing of the mind. Do not be frightened by his language. It is simply our practice stated in his cadence. Henceforth know we no man after the flesh. After the flesh is after the mask, after the resume, after the rumor. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, not by the perfecting of the persona. Renewing of mind is precisely the pause in which you lay down labels and turn within. Then Christ in you, the hope of glory, ceases to be a theological phrase and becomes the feel of a sentence rising that you did not compose, the confidence to give one clean no without injury, the maturity to ask, what support do you need, without flattery or fear. You may say, yes, but what of the outer? Bills to pay, schedules to meet, doors to open? Elijah will tutor us here. The ravens brought him bread and flesh, and later at a widow's table the barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil fail. You are not asked to replicate his scenery. You are asked to recognize the law. Provision follows obedience to the inner instruction. He turned where he was sent, he consented, then supply appeared in the form fitting the day. So with you. Take no thought is not an abdication, it is a reordering. You turn within first, then the angel work begins. Behold, I send an angel before thee, says the old record. He shall give his angels charge over thee. Angels are not winged dolls to my sense. They are the functions of the presence that goes before you to make the crooked places straight. In our scenes, they have worn the costume of a calendar block becoming available, of a neighbor's temper cooling in the walk from door to sidewalk, of a child finding the sentence to say, I bombed the quiz, instead of exploding the room. Do not argue with the costume. Recognize the function. The presence arranged it because you gave consent where consent must be given within. Now, let us be very honest. These words can be turned into darts in religious debate, but that is not their nature. They are not proof texts. They are living dynamics you can verify in your next conversation. Try it in the simplest form. Before you answer the message, stop short. Whisper inwardly, I, my own self, can do nothing. Father within, go before me. Withdraw your labels, neither good nor evil, in this appearance, neither hero nor villain across the table. Behold the person without qualities. Then speak only as given. If a scripture arrives in the heart, let it rise as atmosphere rather than citation. Let your yea be yea, and your nay may become a clean yes or a clean no without embroidery. Then watch, not to score the method, but to witness the governance. These signs shall follow them that believe. You do not chase signs. You allow belief, trust in the inner law to be first, and signs follow in proportion to your non-judgment. And if nothing seems to move today, do not enter argument with yourself or with God. Return to identity. All that the Father hath is mine is true when the email warms and when it does not. The proof may arrive as outer harmony or as an inner keeping. The Lord will go before you, and the God of Israel will be your reward. Sometimes the angel opens the door. Sometimes the angel keeps you from walking into a trap. In both cases, you are governed. Scripture, then, is our companion, not our weapon. It names the inner law we practice. Behold Christ, withhold judgment, and let God go before. Carry it not in your mouth as an argument, but in your breath as a way of moving, and you will find in rooms that used to be theaters that the word quietly becomes flesh, and ordinary life takes on the ease of being lived under a government not your own. Now let us weave all of this into a day, not as a project, but as a pulse. The presence is not a visitor to our meetings only, it is the life of our minutes. Therefore we make of our minutes' thresholds simple gates at which we stop short and turn within. The door to a room, the cursor over, send, the phone about to dial, these are our quiet altars. The word must become flesh not in the extraordinary, but in the ordinary where flesh lives, hallways, inboxes, kitchens, sidewalks. If the atmosphere of non-judgment can govern a room, it can govern an entire day by these small hinges. Begin with the first hinge. Before the world has a chance to grade you or to hire you to grade it, sit for 2 minutes and withhold praise and blame from the coming hours. Do not attempt to engineer the day. Declare its atmosphere. Be still and know that I am God. Be still. And in that stillness say inwardly, this day is neither good nor evil. Its worth is not in outcomes, but in the love that animates it. This day is a room where no one is judged. This is a person without qualities. I am that, and so is my neighbor. I, my own self, can do nothing. Father, within, be my seeing, be my speaking, be my provision. Do not make many words, make a space. Enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. Shut the door on prediction. Open the window to presence. 2 minutes are enough to prime the well, and then the day itself becomes the prayer. Next, practice the 30-second threshold. Hand on the doorknob. Do not burst in with your habitual face. Pause. Let the presence go before you to make the crooked places straight. In those 30 seconds, behold the room you are about to enter as already filled with Christ, not a person improved, but a person without qualities, present as each. Say quietly, presence, go before me. Christ, be my word. I, my own self, can do nothing. Then turn the knob. Watch, not for fireworks, but for small straightnesses. The sentence you would have said falls away. Another, gentler sentence arrives. The brow that would have furrowed stays smooth. The task you feared proves simple. The word must become flesh, and here it is in the changed energy of an entrance. With the cursor poised over send, treat the rectangle as a doorway. 30 seconds. Be still. Ask, is this mine to send? Are these the words given, or are they the words rehearsed for effect? Do I need all these names in the copy, all this armor in the tone? You will be surprised. and you will be relieved. A subject line softened. A paragraph shortens. A delay appears, and in that delay a call comes that renders the email unnecessary, or, contrariwise, the email goes with a clean yes, and you need not think of it again. It shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak, includes what you shall type, and when you should not type at all. Let your words be few is not austerity. It is trust that fruitage does not require embroidery. The phone about to dial is a bell in the sanctuary. Take 30 seconds there too. Before you ring a house, say inwardly what the disciples were taught to say. Peace be to this house. Not human peace, not appeasement, but the government of Christ recognized in advance. If the call is heated, the pause will cool you. If the call is tender, the pause will keep it true. If in that quiet the instruction is wait, wait, the person you would have cornered may be about to unburden themselves without the slightest pressure from you. If the instruction is speak, speak once, cleanly, and then stop. We are not trying to win. We are letting the presence win by having the first word and the last. There are also the small gates that seem like no gates at all. Elevators, checkout lines, red lights, the crosswalk. These are holy because they are common. In an elevator, say inwardly, this is a person without qualities. The suit is a costume, the frown is a weather pattern, the identity is Christ. Do not stare. Do not become peculiar. Become present. In a checkout line, silently bless the hands that touch your food. They are the hands of love, where love is allowed. In traffic, declare, this light is neither good nor evil. It is an occasion to breathe and to consent to timing beyond mine. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Quietness at a red light is strength later in a conversation. You will not jam your day into human sequence. You will discover you are arriving again and again at the right door at the right moment without strain. Make of doorways a habit. At the office threshold, in this room, no one is being judged. At your own front door, I leave outside what is not needed. I bring in only love and clarity. At a child's bedroom, peace to this house. At a hospital ward, neither good nor evil appearances have value here, only the invisible love that animates us. You need not say a syllable aloud. The presence knows the language of still hearts. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Acknowledge in ways. Acknowledge with hands that pause, with eyes that soften, with feet that hesitate half a beat before they enter. Now, how shall we know we are not dreaming? By fruitage. By their fruits ye shall know them. Do not score yourself. Observe. You will notice fewer arguments that need mending. You will notice cleaner no's and timely yeses, spoken without edge and received without scald. You will notice provisions that arrive like a friend who knocks at the exact minute you needed them. The email you feared goes better than imagined. The appointment you could not get opens. The appliance that faltered returns to life long enough for a hand to come and fix it rightly. A seat appears on a train. An apology meets you in a hallway before you had crafted your case. Call these not miracles. Call them confirmation. Give us this day our daily bread. And notice the bread, sometimes wheat, sometimes words, sometimes a line on a calendar that moves when it could not move. Keep a small record, if you like, not to boast, but to be reminded when fogs roll in. Write simply, pause, peace, threshold, ease. Almost sent email, held, call delayed, better call later. If you never write, you will still know, because your body will be less tired from defending illusion. Embed the refrains until they ride with you. This is neither good nor evil. Say it to the market report, to the diagnosis on the paper, to the neighbor's expression, to your own mood. The word must become flesh. Say it when you want to keep your spirituality as a cushion instead of as a step. Let it press you into a phone call you would avoid or into a silence you would fill. I, my own self, can do nothing. Say it as release, not as despair. Say it to your hands before they type, to your tongue before it speaks. The presence goes before me. Say it at every doorway, every send, every ring. And so it is. Seal it without forcing it. If you forget, of course, you will do not judge forgetting. Begin again at the next threshold. Mercy is new every morning and every minute. 70 times 7. Begin again. The old reflex will run ahead and make speeches. The new rhythm will catch up and relieve you. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. The way is the daily way. Thresholds, calls, emails, doorways. The bringing to pass is the quiet order you will recognize as your atmosphere. And so let us keep our feet on the ground and our hand on the knob. Let us stop short, turn within, and let the inner word become daily flesh. In a hallway, at a screen, on a sidewalk. Seek first the kingdom in the 30-second pause, and watch how all these things are added in ways that humble you with their simplicity. Not argument, but confirmation. Not theater, but government. The presence that goes before you will take jurisdiction of your minutes as readily as of your hours, and the day will discover itself arranged under a law that frees. We have walked together along a simple path. We began by withdrawing praise and blame from appearances so that we could breathe in an atmosphere where no one in this room is being judged. We learned to look past the costume, past the traits, past the reports, to behold a person without qualities, the Christ within, as the one identity present. We practiced stopping short and turning within. We consented to let the presence go before us to make the crooked places straight. We spoke only the word given, the clean yes and the clean no that love supplies. And we watched, sometimes in small ways and sometimes in great ones, that the word does become flesh, gentler conversations, straighter paths, a household that unclenches, a meeting that moves without theater. This is the way. Do you see why we keep our feet on the ground? Because what we know in silence must appear in the doorway, at the phone, in the email, at the table. Otherwise, it would be only a dream. And we are not dreaming. We are living under a government not our own. Let us honor the courage it is asked of you. To release praise and blame feels, at first, like losing the levers by which you have kept order. You wonder, if I do not sweeten, if I do not sting, what will move the day? What moves the day is a gentler power than control. I, my own self, can do nothing. And so we cease from our small engines and discover the governance of the present. Boundaries do not vanish, they become truer. Let your yea be yea, and your nay. Nay ceases to be a verse and becomes your tongue learning to stand where love stands. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me, is no longer a psalm to recite, but a feel in the hand, the gathering staff of inclusion and the guarding rod of a graceful no. You are not made weak by releasing the levers. You are made available to a power that does not bruise. And now gratitude. Not gratitude that flatters or bargains, but gratitude that recognizes the unseen good already here. Why callest thou me good? None is good save one, that is, God. We are not praising masks. We are thanking the source in whom the mask has no meaning. Look around your life and allow thanks to rise for what cannot be counted and yet governs the count. The breath that steadies before the meeting begins. The sentence you did not compose and yet it came. The neighbor who paused on the walk and chose gentleness. The child who dared to confess without bracing for a lecture. The colleague who asked for help instead of advertising perfection. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and above is not up on a map. Above is the depth of the presence at your center. All that the Father hath is mine. That is the inheritance you have been witnessing in one another without saying so, and it is why rooms have grown warmer without new curtains. Be grateful for angels in their plain clothing, the open calendar block, the softened jaw, the quiet that descends without being forced. Thank the unseen government that has been faithful long before we named it. Now go forth in simplicity. Before your next call, stop short. 30 seconds will do. Whisper, Father within, go before me. I, my own self, can do nothing. Withdraw your labels, neither good nor evil in this appearance, neither hero nor villain in this voice. Behold a person without qualities, then speak only as given. Watch the room change not because you arranged it, but because you did not. Before the meeting, at the threshold, give the pause and let the one sentence clear the air. Friends, no one is being judged here. We will behold and we will listen for the next right word. Before the family talk, lay down the scales. Break bread with recognition. In your inbox, move from subject line to presence, then back to subject line. In your doorway, on your sidewalk, in the store aisle, turn within first, then act. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. You will find direction arriving as a yes that does not waver, a no without heat, a question that opens a heart, a silence that does more than speech could do in an hour. As you practice this rhythm, Eden appears in the ordinary, not a geography, but an atmosphere. The garden is where love is not bargaining, where identity is not being purchased by performance, where speech is fruit fallen from a tree you did not plant. The kingdom of God is within you, said the Master, and when the within is given first place, the without takes on the lightness of morning. The old prophets dreamed of a peaceable kingdom, the wolf dwelling with the lamb. You have seen a shadow of it in a tense office turning usable, a teenager and a parent finding a way to speak without raising walls, a neighbor who was flint becoming human on the porch. This is not magic. This is governance. Things, people, conditions, neither good nor evil. Value withdrawn from form, placed in the invisible love that animates them, then forms reorganize in proportion to our trust. Let us close in the atmosphere with which we began. Be still a moment. There is no one in this room being praised and no one being condemned. You are not being judged here. You are a person without qualities in whom the Father is well pleased because the Father is your life. Take that room with you. Carry it into your calls, your hallways, your emails, your doorways. When you forget, return to it in the next breath. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. Not sentiment, governance. The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. Go forth beholding the person without qualities, and let the presence go before you to make the crooked places straight. Thank you. No one is being judged in this room. Carry that room with you.